Okay, students, so welcome to once again to the world famous British Culture and History course with Professor Jamie Jackson. And as you all know, just call me Jamie, please, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so let's get on with today's class. So welcome to week 3. If you looked at the syllabus, you will see that today's lesson is about the evolution of the English language. Okay, students, look at the picture below and tell me, who are these people? Who do you think they are? So you can see a ship, and I can tell you now that that ship is called the Mayflower. And there's obviously the Union Jack, the British flag and the English flag. Who are these people? And there's a little hint there, 1620. So something happened in the 1600s with the Mayflower. What was this? Do you know? They are the Pilgrims from England who left England for America. As you know, Americans speak English because originally the Americans came from England. And it says, use the words in the box on the next PowerPoint slide to fill in the gaps in the paragraph. Okay? So use the words in the box on the next PowerPoint slide to fill in the gaps in the paragraph. Let's have a look. So we've got 20 to 40, 1600s, Australia, 20th. And it says, when the Pilgrims left for America in the there were approximately 6 million people who spoke English. 200 years later, when the first explorers left England to travel to the number had risen to between million speakers. At the beginning of the century, the numbers had risen to between 116 to 123 million speakers of English. Okay, so the answers for these four, we've got 20 to 40, 1600s, Australia, 20th. When the Pilgrims left for America in the there were approximately 6 million people who spoke English. 200 years later, when the first explorers left England to travel to the number had risen to between million speakers. At the beginning of the century, the numbers had risen to between 116 to 123 million speakers of English. Okay, put these four answers in the green into these gaps and do it now, please. Okay, students, here we are. These should be your answers, and I've kept the answers in green to help you. So the full correct answers are, when the Pilgrims left for America in the 1600s, there were approximately 6 million people who spoke English. 200 years later, when the first explorers left England to travel to Australia, the number had risen to between 20 to 40 million speakers. At the beginning of the 20th century, the numbers had risen to between 116 and 123 million speakers of English. These days, estimates range from 1,000 to 1,500 million speakers. That's speakers of English. When the early settlers left the British Isles in the 17th and 18th century, they left a country where English was the mother tongue. Mother tongue, your mother tongue is Korean. My mother tongue, spoken language, is English. Then they were occupying other countries and made English the spoken language there. Over 100 years later, English still remains the spoken language in these countries. Catroux, that's the person who devised this. Catroux in 1985 then devised a term to separate the different English speakers in the world. He devised the terms inner circle, outer circle and expanding circle. So we've got three different circles. We have the inner circle, the outer circle and the expanding circle. The expanding circle means, expanding means getting bigger. Okay, so Catroux then devised a term to separate the different English speakers in the world. He devised the terms inner circle, outer circle and expanding circle. And here we go, so we've got the inner circle, and we've got the outer circle and we've got the expanding circle. And Catroux is going to describe the different speakers of English using this, the inner circle, the outer circle and the expanding circle. Okay, that's what Catroux is going to do. There are 7 inner circle countries. And their countries' flags, I've spelt there wrong, sorry. And their countries' flags are below. So we've got these 7 flags, okay? And we've got a green, white and orange one. Then we've got a red, white and blue one. Then we've got the very famous red and white striped with the blue stars. And I think they might have 50 stars, or is it 52? Then we've got the red and white flag with the red maple leaf in the middle. Then we have the Union Jack in the top left and below it the large star. Next to it a very similar flag. Once again you've got the Union Jack on the flag, but this time there is no large flag below and the stars are in red. And then we have a very multicoloured flag with black, green, blue, red and white. So we've got 7 countries here. There are 7 inner circle countries and these countries' flags are below. So these 7 countries, the inner circle, are countries who speak English as their native language. Okay, these 7 countries. Do you know who are these? Whose flags are they? Have a guess, and have a guess now. Okay, so look at the top. These are the 7 flags. We have the Republic of Ireland. We have Great Britain. We have USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and South Africa. And it says, if you had a native English teacher at your public school, I promise they must have been from one of the 7 inner circle countries. These 7 countries are the countries where only if you come from one of these 7 countries can you teach English at places, in places like Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, etc. They will not let anybody else teach English in their schools because the inner circle 7 countries are the only countries where English is their native language. So once again, remember these please. The Republic of Ireland, Great Britain, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. The outer circle countries refer to countries that use English as a second language, okay? It is not their native language. The outer circle countries are former colonies of the British Empire. During the period of colonisation, English was used for administration between public organisations such as government, immigration and police, etc. As a result, the English language grew through these countries because of the need to communicate in one language to operate our country effectively with only a few native English speakers to run the country. Okay, so the outer circle, please remember, they have all been colonised by the British Empire and English is used as a second language, even to this day. Despite being former colonies, the Outer Circle countries willingly use English as an official language. This is because many Outer Circle countries have many different languages being used, and by using English as an official language, they can all communicate with each other. Okay? So these Outer Circle countries are still using English willingly, and it is helping them communicate because they speak many different languages, so all the people don't understand each other. So they use English. Over time, English is not seen as a foreign language in these countries. They now have their own unique version of English, with its own unique grammar, vocabulary and pronunciation. So when they're using English, it has changed over time. They now have their own unique version of English with its own unique grammar, vocabulary and pronunciation. So here we go. Here's 5 countries that make up, these are some of the Outer Circle countries. And remember that these are all former colonies of Great Britain. Okay, below are 5 countries' flags that belong to the Outer Circle. Can you guess them? So we have an orange, white and green flag. Then we have a red and white flag with a white moon and 5 stars. Then we have a shield with 2 spears and a black, red, green flag. Then we've got, once again, red and white striped flag, but with a yellow star and a yellow moon. And then once again, we've got a green and white flag, and this green flag, once again, moons again, has a white moon with a white star. Okay, so can you guess the flags of these 5 Outer Circle countries? And do this now, please. Okay, so these 5 Outer Circle countries, look, we've got India, Singapore, Kenya, Malaysia and Pakistan. Okay, so these are all Outer Circle countries. They all speak English as a second language, and they are all Outer Circle countries, and they all see the benefits of speaking English. But please be warned, Singapore now speaks English as a first language, but they are an Outer Circle country. As discussed, Outer Circle countries have their own unique vocabulary and grammar that even I wouldn't understand. Okay, so please understand, some of their English, native English speakers like myself, don't even understand it. So as discussed, Outer Circle countries have their own unique vocabulary and grammar that even I wouldn't understand. Try to guess what the sentences below mean. So we've got one from India, one from Singapore, one from Pakistan, one from Malaysia and one from Kenya. And the Indian one says, I belong to Delhi. The Indian one, I belong to Delhi. Singapore, he always action in front of the girls. Pakistan, I'm going to take a shopper. And Malaysia says, Sean is very steady. And in Kenya, they might say something like, I'm alighting the bus. Okay, so what do these mean? Once again, we've got I belong to Delhi. And we've got he always action in front of the girls. And that's in Singapore. I'm going to take a shopper. What does that mean in Pakistan? Sean is very steady. Sean is very steady, that's Malaysia. And I'm alighting the bus. You might hear somebody in Kenya say, I'm alighting the bus. Can you guess, what do these kind of English sentences mean? What do they actually mean? And try to do this task and do it now, please. Okay, so I belong to Delhi means I'm from Delhi. So you might say I belong to Seoul, I belong to Busan, I belong to Daegu, etc. He always action in front of the girls means he likes to show off in front of the girls. And if somebody in Pakistan says, I'm going to take a shopper, it actually means I'm going to take a shopping bag. Sean is very steady, which means Sean is very relaxed. Sean is very cool. And if you're here in Kenya, I'm alighting the bus, it means I'm getting off the bus. Strange, eh? So once again, I belong to Delhi means I'm from Delhi. He always action in front of the girls. He likes to show off in front of the girls. I'm going to take a shopper. I'm going to take a shopping bag. Sean is very steady. Sean is very relaxed. I'm alighting the bus means I'm getting off the bus. The expanding circle countries are countries where English is not an official or second language. These countries have also not been colonised by the inner circle countries. They see the benefits of English to have a better life opportunity and bigger economy. Okay? So the expanding circle countries are countries where English is not an official or second language. These countries have also not been colonised by the inner circle countries. They see the benefits of English to have a better life opportunity and bigger economy. Can you think of any countries that would be in the expanding circle? Let's have a look. So here we go. Below are 5 expanding circle countries flags. Can you guess the countries? Okay, so these 5 countries do not use English as a first language or an official second language, and they have never been colonised by the inner circle countries. And they use English because they understand it will help them to have a better life opportunity, and it will also help them to create a bigger economy. What are these 5 countries' flags? What are they? The first one, very difficult. Oh, Jamie, hurry up now. No. The first one is simple. What are these 5 flags? And can you do this now, please? Okay, so let's go. Of course, you have South Korea, Japan, China, Germany and Russia. And these are some of the countries that would be in the expanding circle. Okay, so as you know, South Korea does not have English as an official first or second language. South Korea has not been colonised by the inner circle countries, and they understand that being good at English will give you better life opportunities and help create a bigger economy. So 5 examples here. We have South Korea, Japan, China, Germany and Russia. And these are today's expanding circle countries. There are now 3 times more speakers of English in the outer and expanding circle countries than there are in the inner circle. Therefore, you are statistically likely to speak to a non-native speaker of English than a native speaker. You would then be using English as a lingua franca, and lingua franca means bridge language. And bridge, as you know, you use a bridge to connect from one side to another. So if somebody from Spain, if you met somebody from Spain and they can't speak Korean and you can't speak Spanish, and you used English to communicate with each other, that would be known as using English as a lingua franca, bridge language. Okay, so please remember there are now 3 times more speakers of English in the outer and the expanding circle countries than there are in the inner circle. Therefore, you are statistically likely to speak to a non-native speaker of English than a native speaker. You would then be using English as a lingua franca, which means bridge language. Okay, so when you are speaking, don't worry about your pronunciation, don't worry about being grammatically correct, just worry about can the other person understand you. Meaning is more important than anything, I promise. However, because of variations of different English in the world, many of the expanding circle countries view 2 main models of English as the desired English spoken form. These are received pronunciation, and received pronunciation is also known as BBC British English and General American. And received pronunciation is the kind of English that you all love from the UK. Harry Potter is kind of like the received pronunciation. I've included 2 YouTube links here. And the first one is a YouTube link for you to listen to received pronunciation, the BBC British English. And the second YouTube link is someone is going to show you how to speak with a general American accent. Okay, so because of the variations of different English in the world, many of the expanding circle countries view 2 main models of English as the desired English spoken form. These are received pronunciation, BBC British English, and General American. Have a listen to these YouTube links now, please. Look at this guy. This guy is really good. There is a Korean called Billy. Sorry, just message there. There is a Korean called Billy who does impressions of English accents, including my home city of Hull. Does he sound like me? So this guy here, Billy, he loves doing the British accents. I don't think he does American English accents. He just does the British accents. So there is a Korean called Billy. He calls himself Korean Billy. And Korean Billy does impressions of English accents. Oh. Sorry about this. I obviously can't tell if I'm going to get a message. There is a Korean called Billy who does impressions of English accents, including my home city of Hull. Does he sound like me? Have a listen. So here we go. Here's Korean Billy, and he's going to do his impression of my accent. Is Korean Billy good? Have a listen to this YouTube link, and he's going to try to show the Hull accent, which is where I'm from. Okay? Does he sound like me? Okay, so we're moving on now. We've got the British Commonwealth. Okay? So as discussed previously, the use of English as a global language is due to the inner circle countries colonising the outer circle countries. This led to the British Commonwealth, and the British Commonwealth is now called the Commonwealth of Nations, and this organisation includes 53 countries that remain voluntarily. Okay, so we're moving on to the British Commonwealth. As discussed previously, the use of English as a global language is due to the inner circle countries colonising the outer circle countries. This led to the British Commonwealth. The British Commonwealth is now called the Commonwealth of Nations, and this organisation includes 53 countries that remain voluntarily. The British Commonwealth dates back to just after the Second World War, when previously outer circle countries demanded independence after fighting on the side of the UK against Germany and Japan. Most of these countries were given independence in 1949. The head of these countries continues to be the Queen of England. Okay, so the British Commonwealth dates back to just after the Second World War, when previously outer circle countries demanded independence after fighting on the side of the UK against Germany and Japan. Most of these countries were given independence in 1949. The head of these countries continues to be the Queen of England, and this little old woman at the bottom right with expensive jewellery is the Queen of England, and she's actually very, very, very old these days. That's the Queen of England. Let's learn more about the Commonwealth. However, she is not presently the head of several Commonwealth countries, such as India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Malaysia and Singapore. But these are Commonwealth countries, okay? But the Queen of England is not the head of these countries. But the Queen of England is the Queen of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Fiji, many places like that. So, however, she is not presently the head of several Commonwealth countries, such as India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Malaysia and Singapore. Why would these countries continue to voluntarily be part of the Commonwealth? Why would these countries continue to voluntarily be part of the Commonwealth? Why would they do that? Okay, so these countries were occupied by the United Kingdom. They were colonised, and they finally get independence, and they say, oh no, but let's still keep as part of the Commonwealth. We want to keep our links with the UK. Why would they do this? Why? Have a think. Okay, here's the answer. The Commonwealth covers 20% of the land on Earth and has a population of 2.4 billion people. Therefore, being a member means a bigger economy, and they all fight if one country is attacked by another country. So be careful. The Commonwealth covers 20% of the land on Earth and has a population of 2.4 billion people. Therefore, being a member means a bigger economy, and they all fight if one country is attacked by another country. So if you think, for example, if Japan attacked Australia, then every single country in the Commonwealth would then attack Japan. So if Japan attacked Australia, then Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, India, Pakistan, Jamaica, all of these countries would then, I promise you, attack Japan. So don't be attacking a country that's in the Commonwealth. Festivals of the Commonwealth. I will now introduce some strange but true festivals of the Commonwealth, okay? And these are all true, I promise you, okay? These are all true. So, festivals of the Commonwealth. I will now introduce some strange but true festivals of the Commonwealth. Okay, so what we got here, we've got a woman and she's walking over fire, which is absolutely crazy. And here we go, and it's called the Fire Walking Festival in Singapore. The Fire Walking Festival in Singapore. So we've got a lady walking over fire, which don't do this, please. Please don't do this. Do not do this. The fire walking ceremony is held in honour of Draupadi Amman, who is considered to be the reincarnation of the Hindu goddess Mariamman. Draupadi was forced to walk across fire to prove her purity, and she emerged unharmed. This festival is to celebrate this event. So here we go. Sorry, one more time. We've got the Fire Walking Festival in Singapore, and the fire walking ceremony is held in honour of Draupadi Amman, who is considered to be the reincarnation of the Hindu goddess. Goddess means it's a female god. And the Hindu goddess Mariamman. Draupadi was forced to walk across fire to prove her purity, and she emerged unharmed. This festival is to celebrate this event. It's a true event. People actually do this. Okay, here's a funny one. Tunarama, okay, and the picture's not clear, but the woman in the picture, she's going to see how far she can throw this tuna, chamchi, okay? So Tunarama is in January, and here we go, it's in Australia. This one is from Australia, and Tunarama, which is in January, our weirdness tends to swim upstream on Australia Day, so it's no coincidence that South Australian fishing city Port Lincoln holds its world famous Tunarama to coincide with it. The festival celebrates all things relating to the city's most lucrative fish resource, highlighted by, naturally, the World Championship Tuna Toss, okay? So what they're going to do here is they're going to see who can throw a tuna the furthest. Okay, well, the furthest, so whoever. So Tunarama, our weirdness tends to swim upstream on Australia Day. So it's no coincidence that South Australian fishing city Port Lincoln's hold it world famous Tunarama to coincide with it. The festival celebrates all things relating to the city's most lucrative fish resource, highlighted by, naturally, the World Championship Tuna Toss. Do you think you would be good at this? I think I would be quite good at this. Okay, something for you all here. Chocolate Fest, okay? If many of you like chocolate, then you could do this. Sample chocolate every day from July 30th until August the 6th. This is in Canada, okay? This is Canada. Sample chocolate every day from 30th of July until August the 6th. There's also a chocolate scavenger hunt, chocolate trivia, chocolate treasure hunt, chocolate pudding eating contest, chocolate cocktail hours, cupcake decorating, cookie decorating, and much more. Every day you'll be able to make your own chocolates, enjoy a chocolate heritage walking tour, and enjoy music, dancing, and all other activities, all for the love of chocolate. So, Chocolate Fest in Canada, you can sample chocolate every day from July 30th until August the 6th. There's also a chocolate scavenger hunt, chocolate trivia, chocolate treasure hunt, chocolate pudding eating contest, chocolate cocktail hours, cupcake decorating, cookie decorating, and much more. Every day you'll be able to make your own chocolates, enjoy a chocolate heritage walking tour, and enjoy music, dancing, and other activities, all for the love of chocolate. Yippee! Okay, so let's moving on. We're going to have a true or false. Okay, students, today's heroine is Queen Elizabeth II. Okay, which of the following 3 facts are true and which are false? So, as you know, the old lady in the top right, her name is Queen Elizabeth, and she is the Queen of England. And as you know, she's also the Queen of Australia, the Queen of New Zealand, the Queen of Canada. She's the Queen of many countries. So, true or false? Okay, students, today's heroine is Queen Elizabeth II. Which of the following 3 facts are true and which are false? Let's have a look at these 3 facts. Okay, so which ones of these are true? Her nickname is Lilibet. Okay, so I'm telling you, her nickname is Lilibet. And I'm telling you, she is married to her cousin. Okay, she is married to somebody called Prince Charles. No, Prince Philip. Prince Philip her cousin. And she never went to school. Okay, so I want you to have a look at these 3 questions and tell me, are they true or are they false? So one more time, I'm telling you, her nickname is Lilibet. She is married to her cousin. Okay? She never went to school. Which one of these are true and which ones are false? Have a guess now, please. Okay. So anyway, I'm just going to let you know. Number 1, her nickname is Lilibet Maggio. It's correct. Her nickname is Lilibet. Her sister, Margaret, gave her the nickname. So her nickname is Lilibet Maggio. Okay. She is married to her cousin. True or false? She is married to her cousin, Maggio. Prince Philip is actually her cousin. Okay, it's true. And she never went to school. The Queen, she never went to school. Maggio, it's correct. She never went to school because she had a private teacher come and teach her at Buckingham Palace. Okay, so number 1, the Queen, her nickname is Lilibet. She is married to her cousin and she never went to school. Okay, so now we're going to do the British and Irish heroine number 2. And British and Irish heroine number 2 is Queen Elizabeth II. Okay? Queen Elizabeth II was born in London on the 21st of April 1926. She became Queen at the age of 25. She has been the Queen for 69 years. Wow. When she was aged 14, she made a radio broadcast telling the orphaned children, orphaned means their parents died, telling the orphaned children of England they would be safe during the bombing of England by the Germans in World War II. She has demanded her country shows respect for all religions and has made sure that the United Kingdom has never colonised a new country. Okay, so under the Queen Elizabeth II, England has the United Kingdom has never ever colonised a country again. She is respected by the leaders of the world as a good and wise leader. She has never been involved in any scandals like crime, sex, drugs, etc., and is the world's oldest king or queen. She oversaw the granting of independence to all former colonies of the UK and remains only the head of state of a country if democratically elected to do so. Okay? So she is respected by the leaders of the world as a good and wise leader. She has never been involved in any scandals about crime, sex, drugs, etc., and is the world's oldest king or queen. She oversaw the granting of independence to all former colonies of the UK and remains only the head of state of a country if democratically elected to do so. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at some fun facts of the Commonwealth. Okay, the fun facts, as you know, this one, we're going to be looking at Australia. Okay, so I'm going to tell you some fun facts about Australia. Are these true? Right, all of these fun facts are true, I promise you. Okay, so the Australian Alps, Alps means kind of like mountains. The Australian Alps get more snow than the Swiss Alps. Wow. And as you know, Switzerland is very famous for skiing. The Australian Alps get more snow than the Swiss Alps. Tasmania is an Australian island. Tasmania has the cleanest air in the world. Another true. Tasmania has the cleanest air in the world. 80% of the animals in Australia can only be found in Australia. Okay? 80% of the animals in Australia can only be found in Australia. So if you think kangaroos and you think koala bears, yeah, you can only find these in Australia. You don't find these animals anywhere else in the world. 80% of the animals in Australia can only be found in Australia. Wow. And the next one, as you know, Malaysia. So we're going to be doing three fun facts of Malaysia. Okay. Kuala Lumpur is the capital city of Malaysia. So if you think Seoul is the capital city of South Korea, Kuala Lumpur is the capital city of Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur has had over 200 rainy days in a year. Yeah, that's terrible. Kuala Lumpur has had over 200 rainy days in a year. You cannot be caned. Caned is like a kind of stick that you are hit with as a punishment. You cannot be caned if you are a woman, child, or man aged over 50. Okay, so you cannot be caned if you are a woman, child, or man aged over 50. Wow. Most buildings do not have a fourth floor because four, in the language they use, sounds like the Chinese word for death. Okay, so most buildings do not have a fourth floor because four in Malaysian sounds like the Chinese word for death. So it will go 1, 2, 3, 5 floor, I guess. Here we go, New Zealand. So I've got two interesting facts here for you about New Zealand. Fact number 1, there are 9 sheep for every person in New Zealand. That's true. There are 9 sheep for every person. Wow, that's a lot of sheep or not many people? Which one is it? There are 9 sheep for every person. Wellington is the capital city of New Zealand. Wellington is the southernmost capital city in the world. Is it? Wow, that is actually true. Wellington is the southernmost capital city in the whole world. Let's have a go. Some of these are very interesting. I find Canada very interesting. Let's move on. As you know, this is the Commonwealth country of Canada. Canada has more lakes than the rest of the lakes in the world put together. So Canada has more lakes than the rest of the lakes in the world. So that's just amazing. But it's true. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in World War II, the Canadians declared war on Japan before the Americans. Wow! After the attack on Pearl Harbor in World War II, the Canadians declared war on Japan before the Americans. Canada has less people than Tokyo's metropolitan area. That's amazing, because I think Canada's maybe the second largest country in the world. Canada has less people than Tokyo's metropolitan area. Wow! Okay, so we're moving on to Fiji now. Fiji, as you can see, the British flag in the top again. These are all true. Fiji has 28 airports, but only 4 of them have concrete runways. So the rest are made of mud, I guess. Fiji has 28 airports, but only 4 of them have concrete runways. Ratu Udri, a Fijian war chief, is the most active cannibal in the world. He ate between 872 and 999 people. Wow! Rata Udre, a Fijian war chief, is the most active cannibal in the world. He ate between 872 and 999 people. And the next one, Fiji's main export is water. Wow. Fiji's main export is water. Fiji, they make a lot of money selling their water, because I guess Fiji is a very clean country. Let's move on to India. Okay, so 3 facts about India. Shampooing comes from India. So when you take a shower and you use shampoo, just remember, shampooing comes from India. The world's only floating post office, Ujeguk. The world's only floating post office is in India. And the next one, India has the largest number of vegetarians in the world. As you know, vegetarians are people who don't eat meat. India has the largest number of vegetarians in the world. Wow! How interesting. Let's move on to South Africa. Okay, did you know these about South Africa? There are 11 official languages in South Africa, with Zulu being the most common, okay? But they also technically have English as their native language, so be careful. But there are 11 official languages in South Africa, with Zulu being the most common. South Africa has the tallest animal, a giraffe, the fastest bird, an ostrich, and the fastest land animal, a cheetah. Wow! South Africa It's got the tallest animal, which is a giraffe. It's got the fastest bird, which is an ostrich. Sorry, the biggest bird, and the fastest land animal, a cheetah. Wow, the biggest bird, not fastest. The first human heart transplant took place in Cape Town in 1967. Wow, the first human heart transplant in the world took place in Cape Town in 1967. Whoa. Okay, so we've got Jamaica now. 3 facts about Jamaica. Okay, Jamaica has the most churches per square mile in the world. Jamaica has the most churches per square mile in the world. Wow. But Jamaica has the most rum bars in the world. Rum is like strong alcohol. If you think like wine and you think whiskey, it's similar. Jamaica has the most rum bars in the world. And that's because rum is made from coconuts and Jamaica has many coconut trees. Okay, so Jamaica has the most rum bars in the world. Here's one for you. James Bond writer, James Bond as in Daniel Craig 007, James Bond writer Sir Ian Fleming wrote the full James Bond series in Jamaica. James Bond writer Sir Ian Fleming wrote the full James Bond series in Jamaica. Wow. Okay, now we're going to move. These are interesting facts. Here we go. Singapore. As you know, Here we go. Singapore's national anthem is printed in small writing on the back of its $1,000 bill. Singapore's national anthem is printed in small writing on the back of its $1,000 bill. Singapore is one of only 3 city-states in the world. The other 2 are Monaco and the Vatican City. So as you know, Monaco is a country and Vatican City is also a country. So is Singapore. Singapore is one of only 3 city-states in the world. The other 2 are Monaco and the Vatican City. Buildings in Singapore are not allowed to be over 280 metres in height. Wow. Buildings in Singapore are not allowed to be over 280 metres in height. Okay, students, so when finished, please complete the quiz of the 10 questions on today's lesson about the evolution of the English language. Send it to the LMS system before Sunday the 5th of April 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so when finished, please complete the quiz of today's questions on today's lesson about the evolution of the English language. Send it to the LMS system before Sunday the 5th of April 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Okay, students, now as you know, the movie that will be featuring in the midterm exam, one of the movies is The Imitation Game. Okay, so please make sure you are watching this, and I sent you a link where you can find this movie. Okay, students, now please watch the second third of The Imitation Game movie using the link I posted on the LMS system last week. Okay, I want you to watch about 40 minutes of the movie The Imitation Game. Please remember, this movie does feature in the midterm exam, so please actually do this and don't wait until the day before the exam. Okay, so watch the movie of The Imitation Game using the link I posted on the LMS system, and I really do hope I can meet you all in person soon. But in the meantime, everybody take care and take care.